Hello. So I received a package from Jensen ABJensen. At least that was his nickname on DIYaudio.com and the forums, exotic loudspeaker forum thing part. And he had a thread about a paper ribbon sandwich, a very long loudspeaker. And he used some magnets that everyone was, at least I was, and it's like maybe 8 years ago, maybe longer even, wondering how on earth he got those magnets. And now, several years later, he said, yeah, I got some long neodymium magnets and the nickel plating is letting go. So if you're interested, I can send you a package. And I said, yeah, that would be really nice. And then I had to ask multiple times the size, because I think he makes a typo or something, because the size is huge. But we'll get to that. And then I thought, hey, Jensen, I know this guy, I think. I looked it up on DIY Audio, and I asked the same questions actually 8 years ago, because I was amazed by the size, because most certainly back then, neodymium was not very cheap. Actually, the price going up and down a lot now with all the green power thingies, wind turbines stuff that uses a lot of neodymium, so the prices go up even more, I think. But at the beginning it was also rather expensive, rare earth magnet, rip-de-doo. Anyhow, this is the package. I did take a quick peek alone, but not completely. So clearly this is the original, at least I assume, the original factory package, because there are not many people that pack something like this. It is rusted, so a little bit, maybe that's from the factory, that could well be. But yeah. Neodymium apparently doesn't like moisture very much. And in this case, it might be the reason, might be not the reason, but the plating lets go, as we've seen on some of BNGs as well. So this is packed like a, well, pro, because they probably are. Although, about the coating, you could ask yourself, is it that pro? Although there are multiple ways to coat or plate a neodymium. I've read up on it just before I made this video, because I made one already outside, but it was too windy. So he has, I'm not sure how many, but I think he bought like 1,000 or something. That's an insane amount, by the way. And he had also 100 or a few hundred that are having copper plating underneath the nickel plating, the way you would assume people do it. Although you can do both. You could do nickel, copper, nickel. You could do copper, nickel. Or you could straight go to nickel, I believe. And there you got chrome and some other variants. But anyhow, these have problems with plating. Now the question is, first off, how can I get this out without hurting myself? And secondly, maybe we can fix the plating. I don't think so. I mean, it probably so much labor intensive, it's not worth it. Although, yes, these would have cost a lot of money. By just its pure weight, it probably still does. But maybe I can coat it with something else to at least prevent it from further corrosion. But I need to look up some stuff before I do that, because apparently neodymium is like just moist vapor is enough to rust it, or it goes really fast. So maybe you have to like get rid of all the moist before you coat something like this. And I know neodymium doesn't like high temperatures, so probably you need to have it in a drying oven for quite some time, and then use an epoxy coating of some sort. That should work, and then they could be used for years to come, the way they are now. I'm not sure if they lost any of its power. Might be, who knows? I mean, for me, I cannot, check that at all. It's N35 grade. And I might buy something like this Gauss meter or a millitesla or whatever thingy meter. And it might be if I can pay, or if I can afford it, that is. I know there are really expensive ones, but hopefully there's some sort of AliExpress crap meter that probably gives false results, but at least I can check it with other magnets I got. So a comparison is always possible. How shitty the meter might be, I can at least compare apples to apples and such, and peers to peers. Peer? Well, anyhow, let's try get one of these out. So they're packed in like pouches. This one I put in backwards so I can get it all out on camera, because otherwise... So that was not... I should not have done that. But I noticed there's like these spacers in between the pouches, and then there is, I hope so, spacers in between the magnets, but there's not in between the pouches. So that means that this pouch is rather well connected to the other one. And the only thing is, pushing it might not work, turning it has a better chance. So that's what I'm gonna do. So that went rather easy, I must say. I'll leave this as is. So there are many of those pouches in here. Probably 10, I guess. Yeah, 10. 20 of these pouches. I can feel the feel from here, so I'll leave it here and move this over to somewhere safe. Shit, do I really have to? Ow, this is sharp. That will do for now. Let's move this over. And let's check this. Nicely packed. Oop. Hey! So there was one of those, but apparently only on one side. So I managed to... That's why it was that easy. It was by accident on this side where it connected. So that's... I was lucky. Huge, if I may say so. N35, 15 centimeters long by 1 centimeter. So this doesn't look all that bad, to be honest, but you can see some of the plating come off. So probably it is a bit worse than it looks right now, I think. I'll leave this somewhere safer. Hey, this is actually one that is almost perfect. You can see it wants to get wants to come loose. So if you're gluing this down and you want to remove it later on and use a, like for instance, cyan acrylate glue and a hammer to get rid of it, this plating will let go. It's bubbling already, so it will let go. But this one actually looks... This one looks actually almost perfect. Almost. I mean, I can see it starts, so this won't last forever. Well, nothing lasts forever, I'm afraid, but these could be very useful for a ribbon, for instance. 2 of them. You could even make a very long ribbon with huge magnets. So, let's check another one. This one is too good, I wanted to say, but of course I hope they're all like this, but I've seen some worse already, so let me grab one of those so I can show you what happened, or what is happening. Let's put this one back. So this is another one, and here it is more clear. In this case it loosened up on this edge, but Jens told me that this one, and I cannot show it because I don't have a huge chip, this one does not have the copper layer underneath. So by the looks of it, it's only nickel. Or that's hard to say. Let me scrape away a little bit. That's rather resistant. It could also be one of those nickel, copper nickel thingies. No sign of any copper. So in between the layers and also underneath the layer. So there is indeed no copper plating on this one. It's just nickel by the looks of it, if it's even nickel, because I cannot test that. But so yeah, he had a few hundred, I believe, or 100, I don't know how many, but he has a version that has copper underneath, and they are still perfect, and I believe they're 10 years old or maybe 15 years old. Quite long actually. 2008 or 3. Not sure. Well, so they're rather old. So you could imagine what something this big of neodymium would cost back then, I think. Maybe it was in the low period, but still. So thanks a lot. I mean, yes, the plating falls off, but it is magnetic. And probably more so than what I got laying around here. I do wonder if the corrosion made it a little bit less magnetic. So if I can find one of those meters or probes for a very cheap price, I might buy one just to see how much is left, or at least compared to another magnet of N35. Of course, it's not going to be the same, but if it's like weaker than a smaller magnet, then we know for sure this one has lost some of its potential. But yeah, I don't know how else to check it. Maybe someone has an idea. Maybe by hanging it and add some weight on it, but still I cannot compare it at all. So I'm just gonna look at the surface field strength, I guess. It should be, of course, larger for this one than a smaller magnet, but yeah. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. That's 100 of those. Whew. I must take care of myself to not like snap my fingers with it or squish my fingers with it. Probably will happen like once or twice that I pinch myself with it. Ouch. Or the glue doesn't hold and then they slam together. Ouch. Buy ribbon. Yeah, so not sure yet what to do with it. I already told him I don't have a project as of yet, but yeah, I cannot buy these magnets. Actually, no one can, or you have to custom order them, because that's what these were, custom ordered. So if you want to buy 1,000, then I probably think you will manage to get them. But if you want like 10 or 20, you probably won't get them. 15 centimeters times 1 times 1. Very nice. And thank you, Jensen, for this great package. I'm collecting magnets. I am a bit of a hoarder, I'm afraid. Well, see you around. Bye-bye.